So in this video, I'm going to review exactly how much money I make as a 30-year-old living in Singapore. This is a video series that I've been doing for the past 6 months, documenting exactly how much money I'm earning and investing my money properly to create more sources of the so-called passive income that the internet goes absolutely crazy for. All of these income streams have taken me 3 to 4 years of hard work in order to build, but if I can do it as a broke university graduate at 27 years old, then I believe that anyone will be able to do it too. Hopefully at the end of this video, you'll be able to learn more about the different income sources and get started with your own retirement portfolio. So now let's look at the 6 income sources that I have for the whole month of October. The first income source will be from my custom G-Shock side hustle. So I set up an Etsy store last year and these were just some leftover funds that came to my account this month. I earned a total of $27.26 from it. Nothing too crazy, but at least it's just some pocket change and a little bit of money that I've been doing. You can call it a bit of passive income that I've been putting all that hard work at the start of last year and a little bit of this year as well, and that's just some leftover money that's coming in. So this is just an update. If you guys know, I actually started this YouTube channel doing custom G-Shock watches and selling them online, but I've since stopped this side hustle as the interest has kind of fizzled out a little bit because I'm just too tired every day, coming back home from my full-time job. I have a full-time job. YouTube is not my main job. It is just a side hustle. But with my full-time job in hand, this custom G-Shock side hustle is also a side hustle. So doing these two at the same time, I'm just too tired at night to be able to do all those things, and also the interest has fizzled out. So I was kind of just telling myself, okay, I'm just going to stop it for now. If the interest picks up again, I can always pick it up again and kind of continue doing it. But I'm just not going to do it anymore for now onwards. I'm going to focus more on my video creation, focus more on social media as for now, and that's the path that I've chosen as of this moment. True, if I continue doing it, I could probably be earning around $200 to $300 a month if I'm active, but I'm not going to do something just for money anymore, because if that's the case, I might as well just focus more on my job or anything else with social media content creation as well. The second income source will be interest from a high interest bank account. So I don't do anything complicated like any of the other personal finance YouTubers because I'm not interested in any of these things, because I personally feel that the returns are a little bit too low. I'm also not a mile chaser or anything like that, but the cashback side, probably you won't get much money as well. So chasing after the newest credit cards for all these things, to me, in my personal opinion, just for myself, I have no interest in doing that. But I actually utilize one bank account primarily and one credit card to earn this interest as well. So for all the mile chasers and cashback fanatics out there watching this video, you're definitely watching the wrong YouTuber. You probably want to go to other YouTubers to learn about credit cards and stuff like that. I only use the UOB One bank account and I pair it with my UOB One credit card. Currently, I have around $38,000 in this bank account and it pays me 3% of interest per year, which comes up to $87.67 this month. The third income source will be money market funds. So 3 months ago, I decided to try out the Moomoo Singapore 6.8% promotion for money market funds. I put in $10,000 USD into the CSOP money market fund and I've been earning a good amount of interest from that. So as you can see from this screenshot here, you see that I'm actually investing into the CSOP money market fund and the account currently sits at $10,122.50. So the monthly return from this in October is $39.78 USD, which is about $53.56 in Singapore dollars. You can also see that it pays me on a daily basis around $1.30 US dollars per day. I like this because I always leave a bit of idle money in the Moomoo Singapore app so that I can readily deploy it to sell options. However, when I'm not using it, I can still earn a decent interest of around 4 to 5% per year. Not a lot in a month, but if you add it up to a year, it would be close to around $600, which is enough to buy a flight to Japan, assuming you're not traveling during the peak periods, The fourth income source would be dividends. So I had 2 dividend payouts this month and it came from the Singapore Savings Bonds and my REITs. Singapore Savings Bond paid me a total of $76.25 and this is from a $5,000 investment. So it pays around 3% per year depending on the month that you subscribe, and it pays twice a year. For REITs, I got paid by CapitaLand Mall REITs, and let me show you guys how you can find your dividends in the Moomoo Singapore app. So if you open up the Moomoo Singapore app, you'll be able to press on the accounts tab in the middle. From here, you'll be able to see all your assets. You're going to click on more, and if you scroll down, you'll be able to see fund details. If you click on fund details, then you'll see everything that's happening on this page. You want to be clicking on filter and scroll down once more. You're going to click on corporate action and they are going to prompt you with all these things: dividends, stock splits, and right subscription. You're going to click on dividends and you're going to click on done. So with that, then you'll be able to see exactly all the dividends that you've had in the past. So you can see over here in the month of October, I was paid by CapitaLand Mall REITs $205.20. The fifth income source will be selling options. So every month I sell options primarily on the Alibaba stock. So this month itself was a very good month because the China stocks were rallying quite a bit. So this makes the Alibaba premiums a little bit more expensive expensive for selling. In other words, it just was a little bit more profitable because I was selling options. So I earned a total of 1,363 USD in October because of the increase in volatility. I also need to mention that not every month is like this. I generally only make around $200 to $300 per month doing this, and this month is an exception for sure. It's also important to take note that I actually use about 20 to 30,000 USD in order to earn this 1,000 plus USD in that sense. It's not going to be like you just put in a small amount of money and you get $1,000 over dollars in that sense. It's not going to work that way. You need a decent sum of money in order to earn this money back from options. The interesting thing is that the price of Alibaba has actually come down significantly this month as well. So I'm estimating that the amount I can earn for the next few months will actually be lower. So actually, if you even things out, 1,300 plus dollars is actually around $1,835.28 in Sing dollars. If you kind of average out the next couple of months, maybe you'll just go back to just about $200 to $300 per month in that sense. The last and final income source will be my day job as a physio in a private clinic in Singapore. After CPF deductions, I've earned a total of $7,929.20. This is a big amount, and I'm very fortunate to have a decent paying job that can help me to accumulate my funds faster in order to save and invest more money. This brings the grand total to $10,214.42, which very nicely puts me over the 5-figure beautiful 10K mark that everyone is obsessed with. So if you watched my previous video, you already know about my October expenses. In the month of October, I spent a total of $2,409.71. This is not the final expenses yet because I'm also saving up for my sinking fund and travel fund. I'm going to allocate $321.85 to my sinking fund, bringing it to a total of $1,500 saved up for the sinking fund. So this is something I started a couple months ago because I realized that I will always have something random that will just pop up spontaneously in the month itself, and I just have to pay for it, and it's just going to come up from my savings. So I was like, enough of that nonsense. I'm just going to start this sinking fund, and anything random is going to come up from this fund if needed. So this way I'll be prepared for whatever new things or random stuff that's going to pop out, and I'll not have to dip into my savings or investments just to pay for them. So I'm also going to allocate $600 into my travel fund, bringing it to a total of $1,200 for the travel fund. If you caught my September money diaries from last month, you also know that I went to Vietnam with my family. This is one of the things I'm most proud of because thankfully, because of these good habits of saving up for the sinking fund and the travel fund, I was able to utilize it almost entirely. I still actually have some savings left in the two funds, but I was able to pay for the entire trip without even touching the savings or investments for last month. And I was paying for myself and my family as well, which is a very big win for me, and I'm so glad I have these expenses and I'm documenting all this for you guys. So good habits really pay off. If you have these good habits, or if you're not really started with them, I really urge you to get started with them. It almost feels like I went for holiday for free. Not that I didn't pay for it, but I didn't have to use any additional savings or investments to pay for it because I've already buffered in and already budgeted in a couple months ago. So this brings the net total expenses in October to $3,331.56. Alright, now it's time for the exciting part of which stock I added to my $50,000 portfolio. Since I do not count my money market funds and options income, I will essentially have $8,325.58 for savings and investing. So subtracting all my expenses in October, I'll be left with $4,994.02. Let's just round it up to about $5,000. I'm going to throw in the extra $6 to make sure that it goes to a nice 5K round number. So if you guys have been following my money diaries as well, you know that I'm saving up to buy my house next year. So I allocate $3,000 into my UOB One bank account to collect interest while saving up, and that will leave me with $2,000 left for investing. I also have $2,705.49 of unused funds in the account, so that brings it up to around $4,705.49 for investing in total. I added 700 shares of Ascender REITs at an average price of 2.72, and that cost $1,904. I have also added 500 shares of CapitaLand Mall REITs at 2.03 average price, and that cost $1,015. However, this was actually the interesting part. The price of these two stocks actually continued to drop further, and that was when I decided to add another 800 shares of Ascender REITs at an average price of $2.6, which cost $2,080. So actually, this is the interesting part. If you notice all the calculations, I kind of made a mistake and I overbought and I overspent around $300 more than I should, which I actually topped up a little bit with my savings. So the mindset behind why I decided to add more Ascender REITs this month was because it had fallen below my cost price and it was relatively cheaper than CapitaLand Mall REITs, and I already had these two REITs in my account along with DBS Bank that make up this 50,000 portfolio, so I'm just doing my best to add on to this portfolio as of now. Currently, the portfolio is sitting at a whopping $51,832.76, consisting of $23,040 in Ascender REITs, $20,326.76 with CapitaLand Mall REITs, and $8,466 of DBS Bank stock. So technically, I was saving money to buy into DBS Bank stock, but it's currently standing at $42, $43 a share, so that would be super pricey. And I just figured since the REITs was actually falling, let's just buy into the REITs as of now as well. The fact that it's hanging around the all-time high has made me a bit more hesitant to buy it right now. Feels like I'm falling into a trap of, trying to time the market and wanting to only buy it when the market is going down. Most people actually do it the other way. They love to buy it when the market is going up because the FOMO is actually kicking in. But over these few years of investing, I've actually conditioned myself to feel uncomfortable at market highs and to feel super comfortable in buying in when the market is dropping as much as possible. Hopefully this video gives you guys an insight on how much money I earned in October and how I've deployed it to my savings and investments so that it continues to build all these income streams that can hopefully one day rival my full-time job. That is still the ultimate goal. If you enjoyed this video here, then you might just want to start investing and start your income streams with this video here on how to invest on the Moomoo Singapore app as a beginner. Thanks for watching, have an amazing day as usual, and I'll see you guys in the next few videos. Bye bye.